Your roadmap to the latest in auto. Welcome to Highway Herald. The August 1st trade deadline has come and gone, but the aftershocks are just beginning to ripple across North America. President Trump followed through on his 35% tariff threat against Canadian imports, igniting a high-octane showdown at the border. But Prime Minister Mark Carney didn't stall. He shifted into high gear. Instead of retaliatory noise, Canada responded with calculated precision. And at the center of its strategy? A gritty pink mineral called potash, a silent heavyweight in global food security. Paired with bold moves in energy and steel, Canada's response is more than a counterpunch. It's a full-scale realignment. Ottawa isn't just keeping pace, it's steering the future of North American trade. Fertilizer fallout. Canada's potash puts pressure on Washington. Nicknamed Pink Gold, potash might just be Canada's most underestimated strategic asset, until now. This potassium-rich mineral is essential to modern agriculture, and Canada, especially Saskatchewan, sits atop one of the world's most abundant and productive reserves. With more than 30% of global output under its belt and annual exports to the U.S. approaching $5 billion, Canada effectively controls the keys to the global fertilizer vault. The numbers highlight the imbalance. American farms consume over 5.3 million metric tons of potash each year, while U.S. production barely cracks 400,000 tons. With geopolitical instability sidelining Russia and Belarus, two other major producers, the U.S. is critically dependent on Canadian supply. Imagine relying on your neighbor for 90% of your spark plugs, then threatening to block their driveway. Leaders like Elizabeth May are calling on Carney to halt potash exports or establish a national reserve. This isn't just about dollars, it's about leverage. A fertilizer shortage at harvest time could ignite food inflation and political backlash. In short, potash is power. But potash isn't the only tool in Canada's strategic shed. Its next move is buried in steel and concrete. Fueling autonomy, how Canada's pipelines bypass U.S. chokeholds. As Trump fires off tariff threats like grenades, Canada is responding with something far more enduring: steel and strategy. Prime Minister Mark Carney has greenlit a major new pipeline stretching from Alberta's oil sands to the Pacific coast. This isn't retaliation, it's rerouting with purpose. Canada's message is clear: no more detours, we're driving our own route. Right now, about 97% of Canadian oil and gas flows south to U.S. refineries, often sold at discounted rates. That's like unloading a brand new Camaro for civic money. Carney's pipeline, paired with the $40 billion LNG Canada terminal in British Columbia, rewrites that equation, opening direct lanes to booming Asian markets. Canada has already shipped its first LNG cargo to Asia, cutting travel time nearly in half compared to U.S. Gulf routes. This isn't just about faster delivery, it's about energy independence. Economist Jeff Rubin frames it best. Canada's move is a hedge against instability and a step toward energy dominance. If Trump hits the tariff brakes, Canada's already steering toward new markets, with torque to spare. And if you've been enjoying the insights so far, don't forget to subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support helps us keep delivering high-octane updates and deep dives into the world of auto and trade. Now buckle up, because we're about to head straight into the steel sector. Steel Reforged, Canada's domestic arsenal rises. In June, Trump dropped a hammer on Canadian steel, slapping a sudden 50% tariff that jolted factories on both sides of the border and seized up a once fluid supply chain. Contracts vanished overnight, mills ground to a halt, and skilled tradespeople were sidelined. But instead of retaliating with fire, Prime Minister Carney rewired the response. As of August 1st, Canada began enforcing new tariff rate quotas, TRQs, on 5 major steel categories. Non-FTA countries that exceeded their 2024 benchmarks by over 50% were hit with a matching 50% surtax. And steel melted and poured in China? It now faces a direct 25% surcharge at the border. More than a tariff wall, this is an industrial reset. Ottawa is mandating Canadian steel in public infrastructure and defense, except when substitutes are truly unavailable or unaffordable. Carney backed it all with serious fuel. $1 billion to modernize mills, $70 million for displaced workers, and $150 million for regional transition. Throw in expanded loan access, And it's clear, this is no knee-jerk reaction. It's an industrial strategy with torque. Still, Canada knows that steel alone won't hold the engine together. Up next, the auto sector, now sitting in the crosshairs of international trade. Cross-border clutch. Auto industry grinds through tariff tensions. While potash and steel dominate headlines, Canada's auto sector is quietly bracing for impact. With President Trump threatening a 35% tariff and a potential 25% specifically on Canadian vehicle exports, the cross-border car trade is entering dangerous territory. Canada builds over 1.5 million vehicles annually, with nearly 80% shipped to the US. That assembly line flow now faces political whiplash. Prime Minister Carney is moving fast, pushing for trade carve-outs not just for finished vehicles, but for EV critical components like batteries and rare earths. With billions invested by Stellantis and Volkswagen into Canadian EV plants, Ottawa isn't just shielding jobs, it's defending strategic leverage. Ford and GM, heavily dependent on Canadian facilities for high-margin trucks and SUVs, also stand to lose. Disruption could mean higher prices, delayed deliveries, and showroom chaos. Carney's demand is firm. Uphold zero tariffs under USMCA. In a world pivoting toward electric mobility, Canada's auto industry isn't just collateral. It's become a cornerstone of its geopolitical strategy. But this isn't just about defending existing routes. It's also about charting entirely new ones. Forging new roads, Canada's trade independence accelerates. Though the August 1st deadline has come and gone, Canada isn't idling at the border. It's already charting new routes, and fast. While US negotiators have softened their tone, Carney's crew is pressing ahead with a strategy that goes far beyond short-term fixes. Canada has strategically paused its digital services tax and extended diplomatic grace to visiting US senators. There's openness to limited quotas on softwood lumber, once a bitter trade battleground. But make no mistake, Carney isn't shifting into reverse. He's building off-ramps. His itinerary says it all, meetings with nearly 10% of the US Senate in a single year. That's not just diplomacy, it's strategy. And the goal? Build goodwill, but ensure options. From oil deals in India to LNG supply contracts in North Asia and steel routed to Europe, Canada is redrawing the map with bold, diversified lines. This Canada-first approach doesn't scream nationalism, it whispers resilience. Even as Trump blames Canada for fentanyl, despite evidence to the contrary, Ottawa isn't reacting with bluster. It's responding with infrastructure. It's meeting chaos with calculation. And at the heart of it all is a broader shift, one that's quietly reshaping how Canada asserts its power in the face of economic turbulence. Final lap, Canada's strategic countersteer to tariff chaos. This isn't just a trade standoff, it's a quiet transformation. Canada's answer to Trump's economic aggression isn't escalation, it's evolution. Potash is now a geopolitical pressure point. Pipelines aren't just infrastructure, they're independence. Steel reforms aim not for retaliation, but resilience. And Canada's growing EV sector? It's redefining what real leverage in global trade looks like. Deal or no deal, one thing's clear. Canada has tossed the old rulebook. Its new strategy isn't reactionary, it's intentional and future-focused. Now we want to hear from you. Can Canada's potash power hold its ground against US pressure? Will EV investments shift the balance in upcoming trade talks? Has Canada finally broken free from America's economic shadow? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your insights fuel the Highway Herald community. And to stay ahead on all things auto, energy, and trade, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching and see you next time. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.